The rules to the game have changed. This is Landlord Evictions coming up. All right, guys, check it out, man. The rules to the game have changed. The landlords trying to evict tenants out of properties. I just wanted to do a video, just kind of update you guys. I just had a court session here trying to get a tenant out of a property that I purchased about a month ago. I just kind of want to give you guys an update of how this process has changed now that we have COVID in the groove of things. What are some of the things to kind of look out for when you're buying a property as it pertains to having a tenant in that property? So yeah, just kind of as it pertains to, you know, tenants having to be evicted out of properties, and you know, so just some quick little do's and don'ts, man. I mean, when you get a property and you're trying to buy a property, obviously you're getting these houses at a discounted price. So you can't, in most cases, have your cake and eat it too, right? You can't, you know, ideally you would want the tenant to be removed from the property. You'd want the, you know, the property cleaned out, cleared, but obviously we're buying properties at a discounted price. So we're actually, you know, we have to deal with these things. These are things that we're going to have to deal with as we move through this space of this new world of COVID. I mean, here's a perfect example. Obviously, convention centers aren't being used anymore because of COVID. So now the courts have opened up and started moving into spaces like this where we're in convention centers and there's more space for people to kind of not be on top of each other. But one thing that I kind of noticed, man, even within this new space, I know a lot of people are kind of trying to figure out how does it work with the tenant and with COVID. Are they protected? And in some cases they are protected, but they don't have immunity. You get what I'm saying? Eventually they have to go. That's the bottom line. Eventually they have to go. If I get a property at 60, 70 cents on the dollar, I'm not expecting there to be no problems. There's going to be problems with the condition of the property. There's going to be conditions with the title. There's going to be conditions with a tenant. There's going to be conditions with demo. It's just part of it, right? Just include it in there. If it was easy or if it wasn't any problems with the property, you probably wouldn't have picked it up at the price you got it for. So accepting that is half the battle. From there, you just may have to account for those numbers. You may have to account for maintaining that loan for 3 or 4 months until that tenant is removed. That may just be part of your new calculations when you buy the property. And that's what it all comes down to. At the end of the day, a deal is still a deal as long as the numbers make sense. If I have to hold on to a property for a full year in order to realize $100,000 in profit, I will do that. I will hold a tenant in place. I will evict them for a whole year as long as I got it at a price that still meets my criteria of what it is that I'm trying to do. Okay. Now, what did I experience kind of going through this process with trying to evict the tenants? They have free legal help. Now, I mean, they probably did before in a lot of the tenant-friendly states. The tenants I know in the state of Maine, when I buy property in Maine, here in Ohio, they actually have legal representation right there at the courthouse. They walk in and they're going to help them fill out an affidavit for relief for COVID. But in these situations, man, if you have a good attorney or you have good representation, they'll help advise you through this process. They'll help advise you that you don't want to evict a tenant for non-payment of rent. Because then they can fill out an affidavit for non-payment of rent. So you just want to kind of consult with whoever it is, even if it may cost a little bit more to have an attorney versus your property management company evicting a tenant. I definitely highly recommend that because that's going to give you the strategy on how you move forward with buying properties 2, 3, 4, and 5 that may have a tenant in it, right? So the takeaway from this is just make sure that you account for the numbers in this new environment of COVID and the free legal assistance that renters have moving through this space. They still cannot just stay in your property for months on end and not leave. At the end of the day, what we ended up doing with her attorney and with mine is they ended up settling, giving her another 30 days in the property. And at that point she would have to evict. It's a win-win. I mean, it's not a win-win. It's not the best scenario, but at the end of the day, she's a Section 8 tenant. And a Section 8 tenant, they're supposed to be served 10-day notices instead of 3. And they can just Mickey Mouse you back and forth all day long with this. But at the end of the day, the whole goal for the renter's attorney or lawyer or representation is really just to try to get that tenant some more time. They at the ultimate, at the end of it, they're not trying to allow the renter to stay there for a whole nother year. They know that that's not right. So they're going to lean that renter toward getting some more time, but reasonable, right? They're trying to give them another month or two to get their stuff together. When it comes to Section 8, most Section 8 entities, they're not usually under the eviction process, and the eviction process usually would have a Section 8 tenant losing their voucher, but now they're just not doing that. They're really not doing that because obviously there's a whole issue with this whole COVID thing. So, for me, it's okay. We got another month with the renter and the property before we can start the project. Yes, because I employ the BRRRR method, it sucks because I could have bought 2 other properties with that same capital, because I do get 100% of my capital back out of the properties and repeat the process, which is the BRRRR method. So that's kind of the downside to it, but ultimately I have a really good property with a lot of equity in the property, so I can't complain. But just wanted to share that information with you guys, man. Hopefully this was helpful. Don't forget to like, subscribe, man. Check me out on IG, and if you're not over on IG, make sure you go there for daily updates and all things real estate. Don't forget I do the free consultation, so if you're trying to get involved in real estate, you have good credit, and you want to get some free real estate education at no cost to you, this is where it's at. It's Terrence Lewis with LewisHelps. Tap in with your boy. All right, y'all, I'm out. Peace.